Hey there YouTube, Wrestling Optimus here, back with my action figure review of the biggest show in pro wrestling history, AEW All In at Wembley Stadium in London, England. More than 81,000 screaming fans packed the historic venue, and boy did Tony Khan and the boys deliver. It was a great night for wrestling in general, from start to finish, albeit very long at 6 hours including the pre-show. Either way, I had a blast, so let's recap what happened and take it over to the action figures. We start with the 0-hour pre-show, which is actually 2 hours long, even though nothing happens for the first 30 minutes. Then we get a contract signing for Miro vs Powerhouse Hobbs at All Out next week. Eagle-eyed viewers could see friend of the channel Simon Miller filling in as a security guard. Predictably, it breaks down after both men sign, as Simon and the other guards get taken out trying to separate them. After 20 more minutes of filler, Jeff Jarrett arrives with his lackeys. He cuts a promo on the UK saying they wouldn't even have pro wrestling if it wasn't for US promoters like his dad paving the way, when randomly, Paul White's music hits and he comes out with Anthony Ogogo. But that's not all. Theta Top Ender Stevenson, it's GRADO! Unfortunately, the Scottish wrestling legend doesn't come out to Madonna's Like a Prayer, but he still gets a monster pop. The three babyfaces storm the ring and take out the heels, finishing with GRADO smashing a guitar over Jeff Jarrett's head. Go check out Tom Campbell's epic reaction over on Cultaholic when you get a chance. But we still have another hour to go as Aussie Open defends their Ring of Honor tag team titles against Better Than You Baby, Adam Cole and MJF. The match itself is short but sweet as the babyfaces tease and then hit both the kangaroo kick and the double clothesline to become your new Ring of Honor tag team champions. We cut back to commentary, who notice Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks, is in attendance tonight. Very cool. Jim Ross joins Taz on commentary as Hook faces Jack Perry for the FTW title. The former Jungle Boy comes out in a limo, and since this is FTW rules, the two men proceed to fight on top of the car. At one point, Perry looks into the camera while pointing at the windshield and screams, "This is real glass, cry me a river," in reference to CM Punk and others recently telling him not to use real glass in a match on Collision. Unfortunately, this caused yet another backstage scuffle between Jack and Punk, but I won't go into that right now. Hook suplexes Perry through the windshield and eventually locks in the Red Room to win back his FTW title. Taz goes wild on commentary, promising to buy JR a pint. The main card kicks off with CM Punk vs Samoa Joe for the Real World Championship. This rivalry goes back years, all the way to both men's days in Ring of Honor, so it's incredibly heated. Joe does the walkaway spot and puts Punk through the announce table, drawing blood. After an excellent match, Punk finally manages to hit a Pepsi plunge and retain his title. Konosuke Takeshita and Bullet Club Gold's Jay White and Juice Robinson, accompanied by the Guns, take on the Golden Elite's Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi next, with Uncle Don on commentary. If you've ever seen any of these guys wrestle before, then you know what you're getting from this match. Fast pace, tons of great spots, especially from Kota Ibushi, who is fantastic, but in the end, Kenny is distracted by Jay White, hitting him with a V-trigger, but getting rolled up by Takeshita to lose the match for his team. A little bit of an anticlimactic ending, but it's gonna play into Omega vs Takeshita at All Out. Speaking of the Elite, the Young Bucks vs FTR3 is next for the AEW Tag Team titles. The Bucks come out dressed as Freddie Mercury from Live Aid at Wembley Stadium, while FTR have Union Jack themed trunks. There's a fun double sharpshooter spot to honor Bret Hart vs British Bulldog in Wembley. Then FTR hit a shatter machine, but Matt kicks out. Dax misses a springboard just like in their first match, then gets hit with a BTE trigger, but he kicks out. Finally, FTR counter a Meltzer driver into a shatter machine on Nick for the 1-2-3 to retain their titles and the rightful claim to best tag team in the world. Afterwards, the Bucks refuse to shake hands. It's time for Stadium Stampede, as the Blackpool Combat Club's Wheeler Yuta, Jon Moxley, and Claudio Castagnoli are joined by Mike Santana and Ortiz to take on Eddie Kingston, Penta El Zero M, Best Friends, and Orange Cassidy. Kingston bum rushes Claudio before his entrance is even over, and we're underway. Moxley pulls out those stupid skewers, but winds up with them in his own head. Orange Cassidy attempts some devastating orange kicks, but Moxley tears apart his head with a fork. Seemingly every weapon has barbed wire around it, causing lots of blood in the ring. Meanwhile, up in a luxury box and the concourse, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio, Eddie, and Chuck Taylor battle until Kingston gets knocked out with a glass bottle. Suddenly, Sue drives out in her van, but gets a kiss from Jon Moxley for some reason, which pisses off Trent. By the way, she's driving on the wrong side. She hands Best Friends some trays of cookies, which they bash over the Blackpool Combat Club's heads. Then, Penta's Oscuro music plays, and suddenly he's in new clothes and with a new attitude. He takes out a bunch of people on the stage, while Best Friends and Orange Cassidy hug Wheeler Yuta back in the ring. Then they beat him down. Claudio does a giant swing to Orange Cassidy, while everyone else fights around the ring. Orange Cassidy responds with 3 straight orange punches, but Claudio kicks out. Cassidy wraps his hand in duct tape, then covers it in broken glass. Meanwhile, Eddie finally makes his way back to the ring with a chair, clearing house before putting Mox through a table. This allows Orange Cassidy to hit Claudio with a broken glass orange punch to get the win. That was nuts, but a little too much blood and weapons for my taste. The AEW Women's Championship is on the line as defending champ Hikaru Shida takes on Britt Baker, Saraya, and Toni Storm in a fatal 4-way. Being that we're in England, Saraya comes out to We Will Rock You alongside her entire family. Once the match begins, the Outcasts team up on the other 2 women before arguing about who should get the pin. Toni Storm accidentally hits Saraya's mom, causing further dissension between the 2. Eventually, Ruby Soho comes out to try and smooth things over, but Toni decks her, so she leaves. Britt Baker sinks in the lockjaw on Shida, but before the champ can tap out, Saraya sprays Toni with the green spray paint, hits the nightcap, and becomes your new AEW Women's World Champion. She celebrates with her family in the ring as her fellow countrymen erupt for her and the pyro goes off. What a spectacle, and congratulations. Next is Darby Allin and Sting vs Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage in a coffin match. Darby and Joker Sting do an interesting video as part of their entrance. Once the match gets underway, the heels quickly handcuff Darby and throw him around defenseless. Sting splashes Swerve through a table, then Luchasaurus interferes, taking out Darby, but Nick Wayne arrives with a skateboard. It's to no avail though, as the dinosaur slams Wayne onto the skateboard. Back in the ring, Swerve manages to get Sting in the coffin, but the Icon uses his bat to stop it from closing. Swerve gets caught in the same predicament, but uses his arm instead. This leads to Darby hitting a coffin drop, fittingly onto the coffin, crushing Swerve. Darby closes the lid and wins the match as he and Sting celebrate. And that means Darby gets a shot at Luchasaurus and the TNT title next week at All Out. Chris Jericho and his band Fozzy play his theme song Judas live as he enters with Sammy Guevara in tow to take on Will Ospreay. The current IWGP US Champion and hometown hero of Essex, England, comes out to one of the biggest pops of the night. There's some great chain wrestling at the start, which really impressed me given Chris Jericho's age. Then, oh my god, the Sky Twister press might be my new favorite move. That's followed by even more incredible aerial maneuvers, including a shooting star press onto the ring apron, the hardest part of the ring. There's tons of counters until Jericho locks in the walls. Don Callis accidentally distracts the ref while Sammy hits Ospreay with a bat, but he manages to power out. He also kicks out of a Judas effect. However, a hidden blade and 2 Stormbreakers finally do in Jericho. Ospreay celebrates with his fellow Brits. Sammy tries to get the audience to cheer Jericho afterwards, but the Ocho pushes him away. Next up, the House of Black defend their Trios Championships against the acclaimed and badass Billy Gunn. The Fireflies are out in full force in honor of Bray Wyatt as House of Black make their way to the ring using Bray's signature lantern. Very classy, gentlemen. There's no scissoring after Max Caster's rap as Billy takes on his more serious badass gimmick. The chosen stipulation is no holds barred. At one point, Julia Hart tries to interfere, but catches a Scissor Me Timbers for her trouble. The Acclaimed and Billy hit Buddy Matthews with 3 Famousers, but Julia pulls Ref Aubrey out of the ring. After losing to the spinning back heel kick from Malachi twice, Billy kicks out of it this time. Speaking of which, Brody King kicks out at 1 after taking the Arrival and a mic drop, but a Famouser, followed by another Arrival and mic drop, finally puts the big man down for the pin, although it does take all 3 people laying on top of him. The Acclaimed are your new Trios champions. Afterwards, House of Black present the belts to the Acclaim as a sign of respect before the boys scissor daddy ass. As Mark Henry would say, it's time for the main event, as the newly crowned Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions MJF and Adam Cole take each other on for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Adam Cole's entrance is pretty standard, but MJF comes out in his devil mask on a moving throne with girls bowing down to him the whole way. Brilliant. Both men start off by putting on t-shirts for their tag team, as Nigel McGuinness on commentary points out that this is a sign they'll compete respectfully. However, when MJF gets the crowd to chant sportsmanship and extends his hand out, he pokes Cole in the eye. So much for that. Both men use the other's signature moves, showing how well they know each other. At one point, MJF goes to tombstone Cole through the commentary desk, but can't bring himself to do it to his best friend. But Cole doesn't hesitate when he gets the chance to do the same thing. Later on, they look at each other and shout double clothesline before hitting each other with the move and falling with their arms over one another. Bryce Remsburg counts the 3 and declares it a draw by double pin. The crowd is understandably upset. Adam Cole takes the mic and demands 5 more minutes from Max, hearkening back to their last match for the title. But MJF says no, because 5 minutes isn't enough. We're going until we have a winner in fucking Wembley. But once they start fighting, there's a ref bump, allowing MJF to grab a chair. Both men throw the chair at each other in an attempt to pull in Eddie Guerrero before MJF wraps it around his neck and almost gets the DQ. Adam hits a Panama Sunrise on the outside, but Cole has trouble getting MJF into the ring, allowing Max to kick out. Cole goes for another Panama Sunrise, but accidentally hits Bryce Remsburg with it instead. While the ref is down, MJF gets out the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but again, can't bring himself to use it. When suddenly, Roderick Strong appears and kicks Max in the balls. Adam Cole, realizing what just happened, reluctantly hits a Panama Sunrise and the boom, but Bryce is still down. He finally crawls over and gives the slowest 2 count ever, allowing MJF to kick out. Roderick Strong tosses the AEW title belt to Cole, screaming, "I'm your best friend." But Cole can't do it, so Roderick storms out. As Adam is yelling at Strong though, MJF rolls him up and wins, retaining his title. MJF crawls over to try and console Adam, saying he got lucky and the fans still love him. He grabs the Ring of Honor tag titles, but Cole throws them aside. MJF becomes furious, asking, "Was it just about the belt? You were never my friend." He throws the belt at Cole, turns his back, and screams, "Fine, do it!" Roddy Strong comes back out and tells Adam to do it, but he can't. He chucks the belt aside, and the two best friends hug in the middle of the ring as confetti fills the air. Then Excalibur announces All In 3 will be coming back to Wembley this time next year. Wow, just wow. Although I could nitpick small things here and there, overall, this show absolutely delivered from the pre-show contract signing all the way to the announcement of next year's All In. And that famously raucous UK crowd, starved for a big-time wrestling show, provided the perfect atmosphere for such a grand occasion. What's most surprising, at least to me, is that other than GRADO, there weren't really any big shocks, returns, debuts, etc. It was just good old-fashioned pro wrestling storytelling in a variety of forms, with matches that made sense, even when they were ridiculous, and feel-good endings to nearly every segment, unlike WWE's propensity to swerve their audience just for the sake of it. In wrestling parlance, AEW truly sent the crowd home happy. And really, what more could you want? Alright, that'll do it for AEW All In from Wembley Stadium. Let me know what you thought of the show down there in the comments. If you liked the video, make sure to do all that normal YouTube stuff. Smash the like button, share with any wrestling or action figure fans you may know, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word. You can also talk to me over on X, @WrestlingOptimus, or see all my best figure photography over on Instagram at WrestlingOptimus. If you haven't seen my latest video, you can check that out right here. But until next time, I've been Wrestling Optimus, and I'll catch you later.